Thank you, Patty Peterson. Thank you very much. Put on some glasses that I can actually see through. Okay. You know, this morning as I sat in my meditation chair and I read our daily word, it really brought tears to my eyes. I thought to myself, why can't this world be at peace? It's simple, it seems like, doesn't it? It just seems like we just don't bomb each other, just stop bombing each other and then be at peace. And I think that, why can't the weapons be turned to plows? Why can't these things happen in our world? And I wish I had a total answer that would satisfy everybody, and I don't. But what touched me so much was maybe I was just, getting ready to transition back into coming back to you. Wow, coming back to you. And transitioning back into my work. And I had just been on vacation, as some of you, and this is not a vacation log, but I just gotten back from vacation and gone over 2 weeks and almost 3 weeks. I want to thank everybody, by the way, that really filled in and made it fabulous while I was gone. Don't you agree? Don't you? It was just wonderful. But I had just gotten, part of my vacation was a cruise ship. I like to cruise, and I like to cruise for the experience of the ship more so than the ports. Because for me, it's like I really see a United Nations on that ship. Every nationality, there were 50 different nationalities on that ship. And I thought to myself, these people get along just fine. I'm sure there's stuff that goes on behind the scenes that I don't see, that type of thing. But I thought to myself, if they can get along on a cruise ship, why can't we get along in the world? Why can't we respect each other's differences? Why can't we love each other? And I guess if I had the answer, I know the answer. It starts with me, and it starts with you, and it starts with every individual. We come out and we say we want world peace. Yes, and we read world peace, and we sing world peace. And then we forget it. Also, we sing it on Sunday morning. Where does it begin? Right here. And then sometimes before the day is over, I'm not in a peaceful place at all. Don't I understand that this peace within me affects the world? Don't you understand that? Yes, you do. And so it's a constant learning and a constant remembering and a constant forgetting and a constant growing. Anyway, so also had a great time on the cruise ship. Thank you. It's a great opportunity. It's a great opportunity to practice our principles on a cruise ship. Did you know that? It's a great opportunity to be generous. It's a great opportunity to practice that spiritual law of giving and receiving, because so many of these people are working away from home. They're away from 8 months, 9 months, contract after contract, so that they can eke out a living for their family back home. And as I engaged in conversation with them, I always ask about their family. Smiles. Wanting to tell me about their children and what was going on. Wow, the gift of travel. The gift to be able to practice and see what's going on in our world and to practice these principles as well. So, on my vacation, I spent some time with Eddie. It was fabulous. Those of you that watch Facebook, Eddie posted, I think, everything. I love you, my friend, but you post everything on Facebook. I love it, okay? It's all on Facebook. He does a great job of that. We had a great time together up on the North Shore, spent some time here. We came home early. Do you know why? I bet you do, but some generosity was there as well. And then I went on this cruise right by myself. And people go, "Oh, you went by yourself?" You betcha I went by myself. It was fabulous. And then I spent time with friends, and I spent time with people that I love and care about. And so I feel so great to be back here today and to be with you. And every July, we have something around prosperity. Have you noticed that, those of us with me for a while? Every July, we have something around prosperity. And today, I believe our theme for the month is together. We together move forward. We together move forward in abundance. It has the we in it, which I really appreciated. That together we began in abundance. And you go, well, the we in abundance. Isn't abundance about me? It's all about me. But see, in a community like this, it's a we. In a community like this, we are one with each other. As my consciousness grows and expands, it affects everybody in this sanctuary. And as your consciousness grows and expands, it affects everyone in this sanctuary. Did you know that as you prosper, we all prosper? Did you know that? Isn't that wonderful? Just know that what you bring here on Sunday morning as a part of our community is we all experience this. We all experience it. So thank you. Give yourselves a hand. Yay, God. Yay, God. So shortly after I arrived here, and he goes with this story again. Shortly after I arrived here, you know, I had an awakening. Board members, current board members, former board members, you think you had some challenges now, and we do. We've had challenges, opportunities for growth. We've had challenges. But those new board members, when I came on, wow, I see some of them here. We had challenges too. Different kinds of challenges. Challenges about being able to pay the bills. I had a treasurer that shortly after I got here that said, "Reverend Pat, we weren't sure we were going to be able to pay you." Well, that really made me feel real good. You know what I mean? We're not going to be able to pay you. And I remember saying to her, God bless her, I remember saying, "Oh, yes, we will." I've never missed a paycheck in this thing. Never in this, since I've been here. And to my knowledge, no employee has ever missed a paycheck in this church. That's because of you. That's because of you. So one of the reasons I wanted to teach prosperity and bring that into a July event was the fact that I knew we had some growing to do. Those of you that have known me long enough, you know my purpose is to teach and preach universal truth principles so that I may grow and therefore assist others with their spiritual growth as well. So I knew that I needed to grow in the area of abundance, in the area of prosperity. And from looking at the financial reports that I received each and every month shortly after getting here, I knew that this congregation as a whole also needed to grow with prosperity as well. So I launched out intentionally each and every July with a prosperity series. What did we do? We taught a series. We offered classes throughout the whole year on prosperity. Many of you have taken them, but I knew that there was some pushback on that. Can you imagine that? Pushback on that. I am just too spiritual to get these principles of prosperity. You're not. Try living without these principles of prosperity. Try it. Well, I want to talk about the principles of prayer and healing. And all of these things are important. Don't misunderstand me. But just as important is the principles of prosperity, so that we individually may prosper and that we collectively may prosper as well. So I move forward in that direction. I move forward in that direction of teaching these prosperity principles. Why do I teach them? Because I need to learn them. Why do I continue to teach them? Because I need to learn them as well. So prosperity, as someone said to me earlier today, prosperity is so much more than money, right? Yeah, this particular person that reminded me of that was looking at some health issues himself. Looking at some health issues. Try feeling prosperous not having health. Let me know how that works for you. It doesn't. So it all comes together, this prosperity and this wholeness and this health and this prayer. Prosperity is sacred. I do not believe that the God of my understanding wants me to live in poverty and lack. And one of the things that attracted me to a teaching such as this is that we have means in order to change our outer conditions, right? Where does it begin? Within. When we change things within here, it changes out here. And therefore, I knew without a doubt that we had to start that journey of changing things from within here first and foremost. You see, in consciousness, we are not going to grow any larger than our current level of consciousness is. It's not going to happen. So we have, therefore, to expand this consciousness of ours, to expand it so that we can give more, so that we can receive more, so that we can be in the flow. We can be in the flow of giving and receiving that Karen so beautifully said in her meditation. Catherine Ponder, one of my favorite prosperity teachers. Those of you may not know Catherine Ponder, but you probably know what? Edwin Gaines. She's been here about 100,000 times. Edwin, we love you. We know you're in a Baton Rouge and you're doing well. Edwin Gaines has been here. Catherine Ponder was Edwin Gaines's teacher. The teacher of Catherine Ponder, who is now 100 years old, still living and kicking pretty high and prosperous. The teacher of her, was Charles Fillmore. Do you see there, passing it down? But without a doubt, someone came to Catherine Ponder tells this story. She tells the story of a new minister that came to her and says, I have not started teaching prosperity principles in my church yet because I have not demonstrated these principles. And she said, well, oh, sugar, honey. Her first church was Birmingham, Alabama. Well, sugar, honey, you got it all wrong. You teach it so you can demonstrate it in your life. That changed me because I felt like, how can I stand up here and teach prosperity principles when I don't feel that I have demonstrated it in my life the way I would like to? I want to demonstrate it, I practice it, and I teach it. The same thing with the church. The same thing is we practice it and we pass it on to others as well. Charles Fillmore, I love this story. The story is told of Charles Fillmore, which this ministerial student came to Charles Fillmore and said, oh, Mr. Fillmore, I had a dream last night. I dreamed that I was so spiritual that I could fly. And he looked at her and said, but sweetheart, can you pay your rent? One of the things that attracts people to unity is practical Christianity, practical teachings that help us to live meaningful, healthy, prosperous lives. Wow. So a lot took place when I got here. God, it's a wonder you guys kept me. Oh my God, it's amazing. Oh my God. And some people didn't stay. Some people didn't. I never take anything personal. Of course I did, took it personal. But I knew that I was following guidance, Spirit's guidance within me. And I knew that you had hired me to lead this church to the best of my ability. There's a spiritual law out there, giving and receiving. We know this law, do we not? As you give, you receive. It's referred to the spiritual law of giving and receiving. It's referred to the spiritual law of compensation. Compensation is whatever you put out there is going to come back to you. Whatever you put out there is going to come back to you. To quote one of my teachers, I know he rests in peace, Richard Billings, he would say constantly, the law will not be mocked. In other words, you are not going to, you work within this system of the law. And this law is as you give, you receive. So try it. Try it. And so as but what activates this spiritual law of giving and receiving, we know this as well, is the process of giving. Therefore, when things get tight in my life, I have to ask myself, what do I need to give? What do I need to give? And it's not always money, you know that. But as I give love out there, love is going to come back to me. As I give joy, it's going to come back to me. As I give peace, it's going to come back to me. You can't help it. It's the law. It's the law, and it's the law of that circulation. Whatever we put out will come back. Now, of course, many of us go, well, I gave to my daughter. She treats me like, So we didn't say where it was going to come from. See, what happens is we put a limit on where we want it to come from. You may never get it where you want it to come from, but it will come. It will come. I remember I was new in recovery, a recovery program, and I'd been there about a year. I was single. I was not in a relationship, and I said to my sponsor at the time, I said, I'm really, really lonely. It'd really be great to have someone between the sheets occasionally, and so I'll get emails on that, God, I know that, But the bottom line is, my sponsor said to me, Pat, the love that you seek will come back to you. It may not be in the form of love that you want, but it will come back to you. And it did. I had a community that loved me and supported me. It was that WE program. It was that program that got me moving in that direction, that provided all the love and the support I could handle. I couldn't handle anything between the sheets at that time if I wanted to. Thank God, God doesn't listen to me. Anyway, my dear friends, it's important for us to know that this is a WE program. It's important to us to know that what we put out there is going to come back to us. It will not be mocked. Recently we did a class. I facilitated a class on Open Your Mind to Receive by Catherine Ponder. I see several of you are graduates of that class with me. We had such a good time in that class. It was just great. Let me speak for myself. I had such a good time in that class. Some of others, I don't know about the rest of you, but I had a great time in that class. And here we were practicing, we give and then we receive. And one of the things was, wow, have you really opened your mind to receive? Have you really opened your mind to receive? And I realized as I was teaching that class that I had not. During that class period, I meet with a friend on Wednesday mornings at 7 o'clock for coffee. And so I have tea, coffee. And so he brought me a gift that morning. It was a supplement that he had talked about. He's at the gym at the same time. It's a supplement. And he said, I got this for you. And I said, oh, I can't take that. Here I am facilitating a class on Open Your Mind to Receive. And I'm going, I can't take that. How many times do we do that? How many times do people want to gift you things? Like a cabin. Oh, I can't take that. Or a gift for a cruise. I can't take that. We, my dear friends, have to remain diligent about opening our mind to receive. You're being offered this not by accident. You're being offered this because you have given in some way. You're being offered this because you understand that spiritual law of giving and receiving, so open your heart to receive. I want to also share with you something in this book, Working with the Law by Hollowell. I feel like in some ways I'm all over the board. I am. So I love this. Raymond Hollowell, Working with the Law. This book needs to be read at least once a year by me, and I would suggest it be read by others. If you want prosperity, this is in a chapter called The Law of Compensation. If you want prosperity and success, but do not strive to change in any way, how can you expect things to be different? A drunkard never becomes reformed until he decides to stop drinking. If some habit possesses or obsesses you, then you are not the master of your life until you decide to change that habit. I put the word addiction for me. If you've been brought into the world amidst lack and limitation, you can never get above it until you change your ideas about it. And I know myself and probably many people in this room have been brought into this world among lack and limitation. And if that's the case, then you get the opportunity to do an inventory, to look at your current beliefs concerning prosperity, and to ask yourself, how is this continuing to show up in my life? There are many, many people who live and die and never know anything different from what has been handed down to them. And once you have changed your vision, you will change conditions. And only when we cease to recognize a condition do we cease to attract it into our life. The only way we can cease to recognize things is to change our minds about it. Powerful. I want things to change sometimes. And yet I'm not necessarily willing to go out and do the footwork. So what activates this law, this spiritual law of giving and receiving, is that of giving. So if we want to receive, we must learn to give, and to give generously. Catherine Ponder, in this book, she says that there are three ways. There are three kinds of giving that she talks about. And she says, the first kind of giving is giving to God. She says, put God first financially. Well, your definition of God as you understand God is going to be different than everybody in this room, right? Your definition is different. So I put that place, put God first in my life, just not with my finances, but those places where I'm spiritually fed. You've heard me say this before. I'm a longtime tither. I tithe to the places where I'm spiritually fed. By tithing, I practice that spiritual law of giving and receiving, that law of circulation. So first of all, I must put God first in my finances, but just not in my finances. When we start with our finances, then we find out there's other places where we need to put God first. Do I give God the first hours of my day? Do I sit there and give God the first hours of my day? Do I give God the first love in my life? First and foremost, I must give to God as I understand God. He says, when any persons withhold that which belongs to the universe, their lives are thrown out of balance, and they experience lack in some form. It may be lack of supply, lack of health, lack of love, lack of spiritual understanding, or lack of direction in life. Only as we let go of our littleness, can we expand into a larger life. Only as we let go of the lesser can we even grab on to the greater in our life. So that first form of giving, she's very clear about that. She says it's just the spiritual aspect of our life where we receive our spiritual nourishment, where we give to God as we understand God. The second kind of giving is give to yourself. Now, this is where I didn't grow up. I grew up, you put God first, you put others second, and where did you put yourself? Last. Someone was my neighbors that understood my mother. Wow. But we put ourselves second. We cannot give anything away until we own it, until we possess it. You must first put your attention on the improvement and development of yourself, including your own strength and wisdom, before you can possibly help others. But only after self-improvement are you capable of helping others. So as my friend, there's nothing wrong and selfish about taking care of you, self, taking care of that, regardless of whether it's a class or a workshop, or it's your health and wholeness that you're taking care of, or it's your finances you're taking care of. First God, then that second 10% goes where? Savings, investment, whatever. That's practical. Then she says the third kind of giving is you give to others. You give to others and release both the gift and the recipient. Don't forget to do that. As you give to others, release it. There's no strings attached. If there's strings attached, it's not a gift, it's a bribe. So let it go. Then she also says, any of us, man, woman, or child, can transform our lives by transforming what we give to God, what we give to ourselves, and what we give to others. And if you don't know where to give to others, use this affirmation. I give under divine direction. I give under divine direction. Also, she stresses in this book, it's available in our bookstore, also she stresses in this book that we must balance these. It doesn't need to be out of balance. We need to be sure. And for me, my experience has been, if I give first to the God of my understanding, where I'm spiritually fed, and then I give to myself, and then I give to others, there's balance there. Probably the biggest challenge for me, and those of you that know me know this is one of my biggest challenges, is giving to self and giving to others. I still find myself putting others first and myself last. Maybe it's the profession I'm in. I have no idea. Maybe that's it, But that's what I find doing. So, different kinds of giving. Your assignment. Your assignment this week is this. Open your mind to receive. Notice how things come to you this week that you push away. Are you willing to do that for me? And then stop yourself. Cancel. I'll be happy to accept that cruise. Thank you very much. Be happy to accept it. Yes. I'd be happy to accept this. Don't push it away. You are worthy of it. That's number one. And then the second assignment this week is I want you to look at Ponder and see what she says about balance in that giving. Giving first to Spirit, then giving to yourself, and then giving to others. Giving to others is where my charity comes in. For me, giving to Spirit is not charity necessarily for me, but others, that is charity as well. Well, I have gone over already this morning. Can you believe that? I can. I'm sure you'll say, don't send him on vacation again. He speaks way too long, okay? So anyway, I love you. I bless you. I behold the living presence of God within you. And I'm teaching a prosperity class in October, and I'll see you there. And so it is. Amen.